They can catch a breakup, but not a break. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 TV characters who are unlucky in love.
And I walk these streets, a little six-string on my back.
Are you a fan of Supernatural? Click here and sign in with your Google or Facebook account and take a new trivia quiz on WatchMojo.com. It's pretty hard, but get it right and you could win a collectible box from Culturefly, loaded with exclusive Supernatural toys, accessories, and apparel. Click here or follow the link in the description. For this list, we'll be looking at the characters from television whose love lives are fraught with misfortune. Because some of these characters' love lives are entwined with plot developments, there may be spoilers ahead. Number 10. Samantha Carter, Stargate SG-1. A military astrophysicist always on the move, Samantha Carter is one of the smartest and toughest people in her fictional universe. But the life she's chosen for herself definitely takes its toll on her romantic endeavors.
I thought you would react differently.
Bye, Sam.
Pete.
The majority of Carter's love interests in the show tend to die, from her power-mad ex-fiancé to her brainwashed love interest, Martouf, the latter of which she actually had to kill.
Samantha.
Even when her love interests don't die, she's often left unhappy for years due to not being able to be with them, as was the case with the mutual attraction between her and Commanding Officer Jack O'Neill, given that their relationship would have been strictly against military regulations. Number 9. Oliver Queen, Arrow.
Shadow?
Being a billionaire playboy vigilante ain't all it's cracked up to be. Oliver Queen, aka the Green Arrow, has endured more than his fair share of trials and hardships, and, unfortunately for him, they have often involved his love life.
You were my always. And I just want the chance to be yours.
Hello, lovers.
Run.
While his loved ones often find themselves the targets of his enemies, Oliver has also fallen for villains and lost women he's loved, some multiple times over, including the mother of his son.
William needs a parent. Promise me that you will be his father.
I promise.
He may be out to save the city, but it's arguably his love life that most often needs saving. Number 8. Jesse Pinkman, Breaking Bad. While other entries on this list may have more numerous instances of bad luck, Jesse Pinkman's has a name: Walter White. His life might not have been great to begin with, but it went notably downhill when he teamed up with his ex-teacher, Walter White, taking his love life with it. He plans to run away with his girlfriend Jane, but Walt's inaction causes Jane to die of an overdose, for which Jesse blames himself.
Look at me. You didn't kill anybody.
I loved her more than anything.
His next girlfriend, Andrea, has her son poisoned by Walt. Even after ending the relationship, Andrea is murdered by the men who've enslaved Jesse to be their meth cook. Number 7. Clark Kent, Smallville. The Man of Steel may be bulletproof, but relationships are his kryptonite. Well, technically kryptonite is his kryptonite, but they're a close second.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I can't be the one for you.
Smallville explores Clark Kent's youth, but he experiences more heartache throughout it than many do their whole lives, having not one but 2 girlfriends die, one of whom had also stalked and manipulated him.
No! No!
Then there's his drama-filled romance with Lana, who marries his worst enemy and becomes literally toxic to him after absorbing a certain green rock's radiation. Even his destined romance with Lois Lane isn't without conflict, since he experiences the classic superhero love triangle involving himself, his love interest, and his alter ego.
I just wanted to be with him.
We all get crushes, Lois. It doesn't make you a bad person.
Number 6. Debbie Gallagher, Shameless.
Randy got so big.
Yeah, that happens.
The Gallagher family as a whole is generally pretty unlucky and dysfunctional when it comes to romance, but Debbie takes the cake.
I love you too, I think.
Really?
I think so.
That's so sweet. You're the sweetest.
Thanks.
A dreamer whose fantasies border on the delusional, Debbie is generally sweet and kind-hearted, but her desperate desire for happiness and boys takes her to darkly criminal extremes, including losing her virginity by raping a drunk guy and then lying to her next boyfriend about being on birth control so she can get pregnant without his consent. Both of them rejecting her probably has more to do with her behavior than ill luck, but we couldn't leave her off our list.
Debbie, I was barely conscious, okay? You date raped me.
You were on a date?
Number 5. Chidi Anagonye, The Good Place. Even being dead isn't enough to stop a pratfall-laden love life.
I never had a soulmate on Earth. I never even really had a girlfriend that I loved.
Chidi Anagonye is an incredibly nervous individual with near superhuman indecisiveness, which left him unable to form lasting relationships in life. Unfortunately, that same personality trait proves equally troublesome for him in the afterlife, as his alleged soulmate is almost completely the opposite of his own personality, and affection from 2 women sends him into a spiral.
I need to step outside for some air, and I will not be back for many days.
Worse, when he's finally decisive and open with his feelings, it's all for naught, as he and Eleanor lose their memories soon after declaring their love for one another. If we were in his shoes, we'd have stomach aches too. Number 4. Debra Morgan, Dexter. Another Deb. A homicide detective in Miami and the adopted sister of the titular serial killer of serial killers, Debra Morgan has an incredibly depressing and tragic track record when it comes to men. She's been involved with married men, an older man, confidential informants, and even a serial killer, who turns out to be Dexter's blood brother, and who tries to kill her after proposing.
I think a real cop would at least have a sense that she was the presence of the person that she was hunting. Right?
You're hurting me.
Furthermore, she's been involved with several other men who were murdered, one of them in front of her.
Stay with me.
Worst of all, though, is her brief epiphany that she's in love with Dexter, which happens shortly before finding out he's a serial killer.
Are you a serial killer?
Yes.
Talk about cursed. Number 3. Sam Winchester, Supernatural. Over a dozen years of battling monsters and demons, and yet Sam Winchester can't seem to catch a break when it comes to women, particularly since several of his romantic interests are monsters and demons. Sam has gotten into relationships with werewolves, a demon, and several other creatures, and has even had to kill some of them.
This is all there is left. Help me, Sam. I want you to do it. I want it to be you.
I can't.
But the supernatural hunter's luck isn't much better with human women either, as his longtime girlfriend was murdered by a demon in the same way as his mother. Then there was a time a normal fangirl put him under a spell in an attempt to force him to marry her.
And I'm getting married.
Poor guy. Number 2. Xander Harris, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Speaking of characters that attract supernatural love interest, Xander Harris might even beat our last entry.
Xander?
Yeah.
Stay away from me.
The sarcastic member of Buffy's Scooby Gang, Xander experiences plenty of misfortune with his relationships, getting into a rather messy love triangle and later being sexually assaulted by the girl he had previously lost his virginity to.
You want to feel our connection? It's just skin. I see, I want, I take.
But where his bad luck truly shines is with monster women, which he attracts with strange regularity. His most lasting and healthy relationship is actually with a former demon, Anya, but even that relationship ends badly, since he leaves her at the altar because he's afraid to commit.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
The fact that she's killed a year later doesn't help either. Before we get to our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
You just got divorced and broke up with your fiance. It's totally understandable that you don't feel like sex.
I feel like sex.
Sherry. No, nothing. I'm okay. I'll see you tomorrow.
You have to admit it's pretty. I just wanted to wear it for a couple minutes. I don't want to think about what it means. Talk to me about the paint.
Number 1. Ted Mosby, How I Met Your Mother. The protagonist of How I Met Your Mother endures quite a lot of heartbreak and unfortunate romantic circumstances before and after he meets the titular mother. While plenty of it is the result of his own choices, Ted dates his share of crazies, and he also has his heart broken several times, including being left at the altar.
At the time, I thought the story was about whether Robin should be at the wedding. If only I'd understood what the real story was.
However, even meeting Tracy, the mother, isn't enough to end his misfortune, as she dies during the finale, which is partly what spurs Ted to tell his story to the kids in the first place. Talk about a heartbreaking way to end a series.
And I carried it with me when she got sick. Even then, in what can only be called the worst of times, all I could do was thank God.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.